Ideally, you would not like your PowerPoint slide to have a very blank white background. Yeah? So there are two options to it. One is you can manually change the background by right-clicking on the background. You right-click on the slide, you format the background. When you say format the background, it asks you whether you want a solid fill of a particular color. You can choose a particular color. It'll make your whole slide that way. Yeah? But then you've got to watch out. You've got to make it a dark background with light handwriting or a light background with dark handwriting. You've got to be very careful of stuff like that. Okay? So rather than that, again, you could choose a gradient, which again gives you several gradients, or you can use a picture as a background. Several of these things you can do. Or better still, let me get rid of this. I just do a Control Z to undo it. Okay? Better than this, you click on Design. Now, when you go to Design, you've got several ready-made templates. And now I'm not clicking. I'm just moving my pointer on it. And you'll notice that automatically, can you see what's happening? The style of your slide changes. Even your font colors, etc. change. Okay? Based on this template. So what you could do is, you could choose one of these templates to make your presentation look that much jazzier. Okay? Or you could simply keep it whatever we saw, a blank white slide. Okay? Let's say I've changed it to this. You'll notice that in changing it to this, lots of things have changed. The bullet style has changed. The font colors have changed. Yeah? This, which was earlier mixed case, now has become uppercase. Even this has become uppercase. And where it was at the top, it has come down here. So all this is part of the style template itself, which again you can change. You can bring it to the center if you insist on that. Okay? And if you want this to be animated, you can animate this as well. Okay? So now, not only does your slide look a lot more professional, you've even animated it, etc. Now let's run this presentation now. Press F5. Okay. Let me go back one step and animate even this heading. So I'm going to select this. I'll click on this, entrance, and let's say I ease it in. This is how it's going to come along. I'm quite happy with that. I start off with my presentation, F5. Nothing comes along initially. Okay, so this is where perhaps you can say your hi and maybe briefly talk about what you're saying, or give a brief intro, and when you click, here comes your title. Okay. As I said earlier, you could list your objectives down here. Right? Moving on, now I click. It starts off with your second slide that was there, with its heading and each of these points. Now note, while you're teaching, you may want to add some stuff over here. You want to scribble on this slide. Okay? I hope you're following this up to here. Now, so far we have designed the presentation. My presentation is ready, totally ready. And right now, let's say you're recording the lesson. While recording the lesson, you need to highlight something on the screen. Maybe you need to highlight something here, or you want to put an arrow, or you want to draw something here to explain something in the middle of your video. Then what you do is you go down to the bottom left corner, click on this, and you'll see these options over here. And typically choose your felt tip pen. Now when you choose felt tip pen, by default, you get a red color appearing. So whatever I write over here will come in a red color. Okay. You can always change that color by clicking on this and choosing your ink color from one of these. Make sure it's nice and contrasting. So now I can use this to highlight this. Okay. To write something over here. So as you're recording the video, if you want to make your annotations, this is how you can do that. So use the pen and scribble all over this slide. Okay. And once I'm done explaining with this, I can move to the next one. Okay. Now there is an option also to erase this. Let's say you don't want this. You wanted this to be displayed, but later on you don't want it to clutter up your screen. Okay. You can erase it. But that's a little dangerous because once you erase it, it's not present at the end if you're looking for it. I'm erasing it this way, click and select it and then click on it. It erases it, but it won't be present at the end. You'll see what I mean. Okay. Now I press moving on to this. Move on to the next slide. I've explained each of this. I've spoken about each of this. Click, click, all this is done. Now I'm done with my presentation. I've wound up my lesson. I click. It says click to exit, as it did earlier also. But this time notice, it asks you, do you want to keep your ink annotations? This used to never come earlier because we used to never scribble on the slide when we were running the presentation. But this time, if you remember, we drew a circle in the middle of the presentation, etc. while we were running. Please note, not when we were designing. I hope you clearly get the difference. One is when you are designing the slide. This is when you are finished designing and you are running the presentation. You scribbled on the slide using that bottom left thing over here, if you remember. Now it's asking you that whatever you scribbled on the slide, do you want to keep it or get rid of it? If you click on discard, you've lost all of that. Typically, you should click on keep. Now when you click on keep, you'll notice that this stuff that you had written is still there. If you had clicked on discard, all this would have been lost. But now you clicked on keep, all this is there. And this comes in handy when you're making your notes. Because when you're making your notes, you've got to just convert this entire presentation into a PDF file. And all this will be present on the PDF file. Is that okay? Well, I think that's quite a bit we've done for now. Take it a little bit at a time. PowerPoint is an amazing tool. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Yeah, and the more you experiment, the more you learn. I'm constantly learning even after all these years. Okay, so that's it for now. Of course, don't forget to save the presentation. I don't need to tell you that. When you click on save, it'll ask you to save it, and by default it saves it as a presentation. Okay, you save it in an appropriate folder. Yeah, that's what you do. Okay, I'll stop with that for now. Over and out. Good night.